This was my first big foray into feeding seagulls from this spot. I love to feed birds, love to feed seagulls. It all started like 3 years ago in Chicago. It was November, it was Christmas shopping season, and I was in a relatively inexpensive hostel just a half a block off the Magnificent Mile on Michigan Avenue, one of the most glorious shopping areas in the U.S. at peak season. And I was sitting on the stairs of some memorable church there, and got to feeding the pigeons there, and that was an awful lot of fun. And then in Chicago 2 years ago now, I saw a wild woman down on the beach feeding seagulls, just throwing stuff up in the air, and they would catch it right over her head. And I didn't know how she wasn't afraid, but she just loved it. Well, I've done that on the beaches of Louisiana and South Texas, and seagulls will literally take stuff right out of your hand if you hold it up in the air. And they sure will flock around you overhead. They started to do that here. But I ran out of pieces of bread and started using little tiny pieces of dog kibble, which they like a lot, but they don't pick it out of the air. So I'm going down to the OXO store. That's the tourist OXO store here in Veracruz, the harbor area, Hotel Mar y Tierra. The Otro OXO, the People's OXO store, is down that way a couple blocks. That's where the regular people go. And I'll get a new loaf of bread. The bread I was throwing was super stale, which they didn't seem to mind. But I'll get a new loaf of bread. That's quite an inexpensive way to feed the birds. And it's fun, and it celebrates your kinship with all life, that these birds are not separate. They're living beings, and I want them to be happy. Yes, I do, and they make me happy, so that works really well.